You know, he's had a few days out there that he hasn't been at a level that we need him to be, you know, to play as a starter in this conference. But overall, we've been very pleased with him. I wish we had somebody behind him, you know, that was competing with him like Bryson was. And right now, there's not a whole lot of competition for that guy. So, but we've been overall really pleased with him.
How'd the scrimmage go today from your perspective?
I think it went pretty well. We had some objectives when we came out, and we gave a bunch of guys that have got to try to help us in the 2 deep. We gave them a bunch of repetitions. There were some pretty good things in it, but there's some of them that you still got to tell them where to line up and what to do every time. They just don't know what they're doing.
What's the status on Clowney and Ingram?
Jadavion, I think he turned his ankle a little bit, but he just got a bone spur irritating him. I don't know how long he'll be out. Who was the other one?
Ingram.
Melvin's got a Charlie horse on his thigh. I think he caught a knee on his thigh. And it's, I would say a day or 2 or 3, but I don't know for sure.
Do you expect Clowney to be out the next 3 or 4 days, or when do you expect him to be back?
I really don't know. He says not bothering him too much, but the bone spurs are irritating the sprain, the slight sprain he had.
How's Akeem Auguste doing, Ellis?
Well, we just got him back today, and I think he took a few reps over there, and we did some inside runs and play action passes over there, and I think he got a few reps today. That's his first reps he's had the whole camp.
Is it still maybe a case of you are comfortable with putting him out there if he could start, or would he strictly be a backup?
Well, if he gets all his practice days in before next week, he'll be fine. I will have to see how it felt with what he did today, but I think physically he probably ought to be about ready to go, and it's a matter of how many repetitions he can get. He's going to have to tune it up. Now, CC's not had a great camp, but he's done some really good stuff.
What kind of camp has Devin Taylor had?
Devin's had a good camp, real good.
Did you give him a list of things? We'd like you to do this, this, and this, or you
Now,
just...
Brad may have. You know, I didn't have anything as far as an individual thing with him.
Coach, with your depth at spur and linebackers, speaking specifically to guys like Devontae Holloman and Demario Jeffrey, do you have specific packages where you hope to get those guys on the field, knowing that they have that talent to play?
Well, the problem right now is Devontae can't play in the first game. 2 or 3 other guys can't play in the first game, so anything we would have along those lines is right now on the back burner. So we've thought about doing some things like that, especially for the spread teams. But when we got the news that we're going to have to hold him, there's no point in put some time in that when we can't use it.
Are you excited about the speed and athleticism that you have there, though, as far as your options go, when everybody is available?
Yeah, I mean, we're just not deep enough in the perimeter. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. We've got about 15 to 18 guys right now that I really feel like I'd feel totally comfortable in a game.
Who's the backup spur if also Holman's going to the game?
We're going to move Demario back out there for next week and let him practice.
All right.
Will he go back once?
I would assume, unless something happens that, an injury keeps him out there, or he has, a great game and steps up. And we've got enough depth not to move him back out there, but the plan is just to get through the East Carolina game and then get him back.
Where are your weak side linebacker? Is it still Paulk starting there in your move?
I really feel like right now I'd rotate Shaq and Paulk inside.
Right.
We're getting a whole lot better control of our defense when one of those 2 guys are in there in the middle. Rodney's knee is irritating him a little bit. I don't know that he could go 50 or 60 plays.
Where does that leave
So
you?
that gives us a good rotation. That leaves us plenty of bodies. Demario's had a great camp. Reggie Bowens moved out to Wheelbacker 2 days ago. He's doing a hell of a job. I think taking all the verbal communication off of him has helped him.
Yeah.
He's still got a few things he's got to learn on his pass drops out that wheel. And then Quinn's had the concussion, but he was doing fine before I lost him. And he'll be back in 2 or 3 days, hopefully. So we're still pretty deep out there at will. I basically just switched Rodney and Reggie.
You've talked it to death, but are you seeing the fact that maybe your starters are going to be better at not blowing assignments and not doing those crazy things you talked about?
So far, but I think some of that goes back to what I mentioned about Rodney and Shaq being in the middle, and one of those 2 rotating with each other, and one of those 2 being in there. I think that'll help a lot. But still, there's got to be some things out back that've got to be cleaned up.
Talk a little bit about what you've seen out of your guys in terms of their learning curve and to match their intensity and their concentration. Been pleasing to you?
Yeah, the only thing I saw sort of a mid-camp boredom take over several days ago, and when you got good, mature, older players, they work through that, and I didn't see that. I thought that we kind of just punched the clock a few days, and some of the guys, it was becoming repetitious, and you feel like you've reached a point and you level out instead of continuing to make that progress. Other than that, the things that we can't control have been a problem, the injuries, the suspensions, and those type of things. But the things we can control, I've been very pleased with this camp overall.
Anybody?
Thanks, Coach.